well, we were talking about this earlier. A federal judge temporarily blocking the White House from communicating with social media companies, determining it likely did collude with big tech to censor protected speech. The judge stating, quote, if the allegations made by plaintiffs are true, the case arguably involves the most massive attack against free speech in United States history. Here is Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry, who filed that lawsuit, discussing it on this program last week. Listen.
We know from all of the evidence and things that we've already put out to the public, the things that the government was doing, even as high as the White House, to censor American speech.
Joining me now is Real Clear Investigations Editor-at-Large and the Federalist senior contributor Benjamin Weingarten. Ben, good morning. Likely, this is what the judge said, these actions by the White House, likely First Amendment violations. Your reaction?
Yeah, this is a massive ruling and free speech victory brought to us on July 4th by this federal judge down in Louisiana, because what it does is, at least temporarily, frees the public part of the mass public-private censorship and surveillance regime that has been imposed on us really since post the 2016 presidential election. And that ruling, which everyone ought to read, lays out chapter and verse the myriad ways that basically every single government agency colluded with the social media companies and coerced the social media companies, and also worked with third-party cutouts to effectuate censorship on everything from election integrity to COVID-19, and then a growing number of topics as well. And the judge notes that this is Orwellian, and basically we've had a ministry of truth imposed upon us, and this injunction that he issued freezes the government part of that regime. So a huge victory for free speech in America yesterday.
Interesting. I want to bring in Adam Johnson to this, because this is Google, this is Meta, this is Twitter that were all named in the lawsuits.
Yeah, well, and it's amazing to think that actually the White House was manipulating, using these companies, publicly traded companies, whose mission is not to put out the official party line from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but using these publicly traded platforms that in theory we're supposed to trust, that are unbiased, to tell the story they wanted to tell. If that's not anti-American, and it's happening on July 4th, how appropriate. I don't know what is.
And that's the thing, Ben. I mean, look, this is why there was so much celebration by many when Elon Musk actually bought Twitter, because he was like, I'm going to bring back freedom of speech, no more blocking, no more censorship.
Yeah, and it's really important that when you look at this ruling, it lays out just what's been learned from discovery about just how pervasive and extensive the coercive measures were that the lengths the government went to talk about silencing specific accounts, entire narratives, and then threatening it, obviously, with government power, not just of White House officials, but also with Section 230 and other regulations that could really strike at the business models of these platforms. So when the government comes to you, it's sort of like nice business there. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. But the criminality that they were engaged in, allegedly here, was in saying, Americans, you are not allowed to have these opinions. And it's not just inconvenient opinions, by the way, but even facts harmful to narratives that the government wanted, i.e. malinformation that the government push social media companies to censor at mass scale.
Well, we'll see where this lawsuit goes. I'm sure there's going to be appeals coming. New photos from Hunter Biden's laptop getting posted online. This one of Hunter's Porsche dashboard shows him driving 172 miles per hour while reportedly on his way to Las Vegas back in 2018. Then you've got this. U.S. Attorney for Delaware David Weiss, the federal prosecutor overseeing the Hunter Biden tax probe, breaking his silence on claims the investigation was influenced by politics. Weiss insisting he had, quote, ultimate authority over the probe and that the Justice Department did not retaliate against the IRS whistleblower. Do you agree with that, Ben?
Well, I wrote about this on my Substack yesterday, and let's link these two stories. Hunter Biden's debauchery and drug addiction and all the ugly photos that we've seen, while a story, are really secondary to the question of where did the money come from that enabled these acts, and why are these acts relevant to the national interest and really blackmailable acts that threaten our national security? That whole Hunter Biden tax probe that Weiss was engaged in overseeing stems from crimes associated with money, or alleged crimes associated with money, that came from the Biden family international influence peddling operation that took in millions of dollars from China, Russia, Ukraine, Romania, and other countries. And that's where Hunter Biden's money came from, and that's where money came from that flowed down to Biden family members, down to Joe Biden's grandchild, through an elaborate series of LLCs and transactions. And what those whistleblowers allege with very compelling testimony is that investigation, so-called, obstructed the efforts of IRS agents to actually go down all the rabbit holes one would have to go down to do an extensive case, and did not pursue charges that they should have pursued. And so this very carefully worded defense by David Weiss does not necessarily dispute the claims of the whistleblowers that their case was thrown off and obstructed by those above them, particularly at DOJ. And we still need to know, what did Merrick Garland know? When did he know it? Did David Weiss try to bring charges in these jurisdictions that ultimately Garland or those below him halted? Because he supposedly asked for special counsel power, that is Weiss, and did not get it. Garland seems to indicate something else. People need to be brought under oath and testify about this.
I want to bring in Kara Frederick. Go ahead, Kara.
Yeah, Ben, you're exactly right. I think this is yet another indication of the two-tiered system of justice that we live under. But how confident are you that we'll actually get to the bottom of the foreign influence peddling, as you say, all the money from China, from Romania, from Ukraine, et cetera? How confident are you that we're actually going to get some answers to what was going on with the Biden family here?
Well, I think what's really amazing is that we have seen released records, financial records, showing the flows of these funds across all of these LLCs. So it's incumbent upon Congress to do the oversight, to bring in the people associated with all of these purported businesses and ask them, what was this business? Who were you working with on the other side? What did the Biden family provide to them? What did Joe know? When did he know it? What crimes may have been committed associated with those monies earned? And until those people are brought under oath and have to testify about it, all we're going to have are voluminous financial records which show the entire story, but we need the people to come out and actually speak openly and honestly about it. And I hope others follow in the footsteps of these IRS whistleblowers to blow the whistle on what was transpiring, because this implicates, obviously, our national security. If the president or his family was giving favors or doing beneficial acts for communist China, our #1 adversary, that is the entire story here.
As Janet Yellen just got on a plane to fly to China this morning. Benjamin Weingarten. Ben, thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you.